Hi, great to be here on the DEF CON, and let me try to introduce myself. I'm one of those people, as Thor mentioned, who was not getting the good lottery ticket, so I was not really born in a free country. I was born in a country far away from here, a place called Serbia. But I was very much like you when I was there. I was kind of curious and interested and stuff like that. And we'll try to talk about this phenomenon of the social movements and how common people and kids like you can change the world. And it may sound silly, it may sound crazy, but it's not always about the big masses and great figures. Do you recognize the figure up there? Yes? Martin Luther King, civil rights movement. Then the guy down there, Mohandas Gandhi. So people have this crazy idea that if you really want to make a change, you need a great leader and very inspirational figure. Well, that's partly true. They help a lot. But the substance is that it is always the common people who create the change in a great social movement. So talking about defeating dictators or changing the world for the better place, this is how these people look. This is me when I was a little bit older than you. I started as a bass guitar player in a rock band and wasn't really thinking that activism is cool or, it makes any sense. But because the Serbia had a very, very bad president called Slobodan Milosevic, who was in charge for ethnical cleansing and 5 civil wars, we needed somehow to figure out how to get rid of them. So we started building from 1992 all the way to 1998, and basically we ended up running the movement of 70,000 people. The average age in the movement was 21, means majority of the people in the movement were what you Americans would call underage. We were not allowed to buy beers, but we were capable of organizing the movement and kicking out the bad guy. How the heck we have done it? It's a great question, and I'll try to give you the few ideas on how can you disobey and how can you get your own freedom. First of all, how many of you like to disobey your parents? Come on. You can show hands, yes. Now I'll try to teach you the organized way to do it. I'm 42 and I'm still sick when my mom tries to tutorizing me, so it's nothing related to the age. And wake up, you will never get rid of your parents' care in your life. I'll try to teach you this. Who has power in this moment? Obviously whoever holds mic, and whoever is on the stage. Now what if I learn you a little trick how to dismantle this dictator here, and you can use it when you want to kick me out of the stage. I'll try with the people I know well. I was sitting next to these two ladies, and I can show them how to do some more. Let down. You scroll over here. Give me some. Now what you immediately figure out is that you are obstructing my speech. Now what if you know the trick and just turn the chairs around? Now instead of you, I'm talking to your back or your asses. Or you can leave and leave the room. The trick is there are so many different tactics to dismantle the power, but they need numbers. If only clapping hands was limited to here, it will not work. So you need to spread the word, you need to build numbers. So instead of long speeches, I will give you the real master speech in how to build numbers, and it's not very difficult than building a little Lego town. The guy name is Derek Sievers, and now we're going to look a very funny idea on how you can actually build the movement. Okay, ready? Off we go.
If you've learned a lot about leadership and making a movement, then let's watch a movement happen start to finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key. You must be easy to follow. Now here comes the first follower with a crucial role. He publicly shows everyone else how to follow. Notice how the leader embraces him as an equal. So it's not about the leader anymore. It's about them, plural. Notice how he's calling to his friends to join in. So it takes guts to be a first follower. You stand out and you brave ridicule yourself. Being a first follower is an underappreciated form of leadership. The first follower transforms a lone nut into a leader. If the leader is the flint, the first follower is the spark that really makes the fire. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut, and it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd, and a crowd is news. A movement must be public. Make sure outsiders see more than just the leader. Everyone needs to see the followers, because new followers emulate followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, then 3 more immediately. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point, and now we have a movement. As more people jump in, it's no longer risky. If they were on the fence before, there's no reason not to join in now. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, and they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. And over the next minute, you'll see the rest who prefer to stay part of the crowd, because eventually they'd be ridiculed for not joining. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how a movement is made. So let's recap what we've learned. If you are a version of the shirtless dancing guy, all alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals, making everything clearly about the movement, not you. Be public, be easy to follow. But the biggest lesson here, did you catch it? Leadership is overglorified. Yes, it started with the shirtless guy, and he'll get all the credit, but you saw what really happened. It was the first follower that transformed a lone nut into a leader. There's no movement without the first follower. See, we're told that we all need to be leaders, but that would be really ineffective. The best way to make a movement, if you really care, is to courageously follow and show others how to follow. When you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first person to stand up and join in.
Okay, getting the idea. It's a guy who gets 3 million views on TEDs, and there is so much interesting things you can see all around the net. And now we are living in the age where a lot of stuff can be done over the net or through the net, and you will learn how to break up your phone, you will learn how to protect your communication, you will learn all of this stuff, but never forget that at the beginning of every movement there are like 3 things that can turn a lone nut into a people power hero. First of them is, of course, a dream. You want to think about what a better world is, and as Thor says, you need to embrace the fact that other people may not be as happy as you are and be born in democratic countries. So need to find a way to help them. I spent most of my life traveling around the globe, meeting the people from dictatorships and trying to teach them how to build nonviolent movement. Second, it takes courage. It's easier to go with the flow, but never try to kill that kid and a teenager in you, and stay rebellious. That guarantees for a far more fulfilling life. Third, and most of all, be creative. There are some very, very strange weapons against the dictators, and in some cases, the humor is the weapon you need. We used a lot of humor in our own struggle, and throughout the world, you can see very young people using a lot of great humor against the very, very bad guy. Now, what the humor has with dictatorships and democracy, and why the dictators hate jokes. This is yet a case for another video, this time a little bit animated.
Today, in our Manual of Nonviolent Struggle, we talk about the power of humor and how it can change societies. We all love jokes, but what do jokes have to do with revolutions? You're about to find out. For centuries, social scientists have been linking revolution with conditions. They will say things like, you can't make a revolution if you don't have many educated people. People are living in villages. People are happy or well paid. Conditions, conditions, conditions. Well, here is a new lesson to be learned. It's not about conditions, it's about emotions. Emotions are the driving force of people. Look at the faces of the traditional revolutionaries. Deadly serious. And they should be, since they're in the serious business of revolution. Or should they? The modern-day revolutionaries don't agree. They sing, dance, whistle, smile, and look like they're at carnival. So the question is, what is the real face of revolution? serious or smiling? Let's get back to science once more. The studies show that if you're serious armed revolutionaries, your chances for success are about 26%. If you're ridiculous-looking non-violent revolutionaries, your chances are twice as large. So it seems those laughing, silly-looking guys are not silly after all. Believe it or not, but humor is one of the most powerful weapons in the fight against authoritarianism. There are three main reasons for that. Firstly, humor melts fear, and dictators need fear in order to survive. Secondly, humor makes your movement look cool, and if your movement is cool, everyone wants to join, thus making it bigger and stronger. Third, humor and mockery can create a huge dilemma for your opponent. Now, this is an important point. A dilemma action is a powerful tool for every non-violent group. Through a non-violent civil action, you can create a damned if you do, damned if you don't dilemma for your opponent. If they react, they look stupid. If they don't, they will look weak, and other people will start mocking them as well. When faced with an act of brazen mockery, oppressive regimes have no good choices. Whatever they do, they lose. A good example of dilemma action comes from Russia. There, in Barnaul, an anti-government protest featured dozens of toys standing out in the snow of a Siberian city with banners complaining about corruption and electoral malpractice. It was only toys, no humans allowed. The story came to the Kremlin and the authorities decided toys cannot hold protests because they're not citizens of Russia. They banned a protest by 100 Kinder Eggs, 100 Lego people, 20 model soldiers, 15 soft toys, and 10 toy cars. Fascinating, isn't it? The grand lesson here is dictators lack a sense of humor, and humor is more powerful even than the army. Laughtivism is there to help put the politicians back to their senses and empower common people. Humor effectively communicates a positive image of the non-violent struggle and can easily win the sympathy of the international community. Of course, just because laughter in the non-violent struggle is fun, it doesn't mean that it is easy. On the contrary, laughtivism requires a constant stream of creativity to stay in the news, headlines and tweets, as well as to maintain a movement's momentum. Bear that in mind until our next episode when we will talk about media. And keep on changing the world with a smile on your face.
So that's another great lesson is like use your creativity and use your humor. And I think this is like the great thing that we often oversee is that the real change should happen from our heads. And how many of you are familiar with the characters on the picture? Now, who are these people? Hobbits. Who are hobbits? Tiny, small people with big, hairy legs who love to lay back, have a good meal, and rest and enjoy life. Are they the best equipped people to fight the bad guys? Not really. But it was their role to take that ring to Mordor. So the grand lesson here, as much as in Lord of the Rings, it is the decision of these people, and sometimes it's destiny. And there is this great quote from the movie that even the smallest creature can change the world. So don't forget, whatever happens, it has to be you. It has to be you starting this thing. It has to be you joining the shirtless guy. It has to be you challenging the authority. It has to be you changing the world, because it's often hobbits that bring this big change to the world. Thank you for your attention. Now we have time for a question or two. Yes? It's a great analogy, and I think what you said is the following. The following of Voldemort as following of dictators often comes from fear. And it is the great thing to break this fear and show that fear is senseless. In the same time, the following of Harry Potter or, the good wizards are coming from love, but also friendship and loyalty and courage, and these are the things you want to nurture in your movement. You want people in your movement to love each other, you want people in your movement to stand with each other, and you really want to respect and share with your leaders, and you want to embrace your followers, as Harry did with 3 of his friends, as equals. Yes, he is the star of the movie, but then you know it's also his friends like Weasley, who are also playing the important role. So very much like in Harry Potter, you want to build your movement based on love and equality and mutual respect. It's a great movie to watch to understand the struggle between good and evil. Thank you for that question. Any other? Okay, thank you so much. Great pleasure being here.